In this video, we discuss how to check the base quality of the reads. So why is this necessary? Well, the sequencers are always not very confident that the base call they make is correct. There can be also adapters left in the reads, and there can be other problems. So knowing about these problems is important because it allows you to correct for them before you spend a lot of time on the analysis. Some problems cannot be corrected, but at least you can keep them in mind when interpreting the results. So the reads come in a FastQ file, and this format is described here. So for each read, we actually have 4 lines. So there's the read name, the actual read sequence, then the read name again, or just plus, and then this strange looking line which actually contains the quality values for each base. There's a very good Wikipedia article about the FastQ format, and here I will just give a short introduction. Now, when you analyze data in Chipster, it's important to remember that you don't need to unzip the FastQ files because the Chipster analysis tools can actually cope with zipped files, and this way, keeping them zipped, you save a lot of space. But so let's look at these base qualities. So the idea is that the base quality value indicates how likely it is that the base call is wrong. So let's say that there is for a particular base there was 1 in 100 chance that the base call was wrong. So we convert that to this so-called Fred score, so that we take log 10 of this probability, so that would be -2 in this case, and then we multiply it by -10, so the end result would be 20. Now, similar way for each base, the base quality value is calculated. So essentially each base has a quality number attached. However, it has been decided that we don't enter these numbers in the FastQ file, but we convert the numbers to so-called ASCII codes using the Sanger encoding. So let's have a look at the ASCII alphabet, which is shown here in black. So you can see that it includes letters and numbers and some special signs. And now it has been just decided that the ASCII character 33, which happens to be exclamation mark, equals to 0. And then we go up from there so that the ASCII character, which is 73rd, which is capital I, that equals to 40. So hence, when the base quality value is 40, we will just mark in the FastQ file capital I for that particular base. This is how it works. Currently, if you have older data, there was some different encoding systems, but nowadays all the new data uses this Sanger encoding. So how do you check then the base quality in your reads? Well, you can use in Chipster either a FastQC tool so that you run it directly or via a MultiQC tool. So FastQC checks many things, including this base quality that we just discussed, also base composition, duplication, ends, k-mers, adapters, and so on. So now if you decide to run FastQC directly, that means that you run it for each individual file. Please note that you can actually start up to 10 analysis jobs at the same time. So you would select your FastQ files, and then the Run button in Chipster would change and it would say Run for each. However, if you have many samples, many FastQ files, it's typically handier to run the FastQC via MultiQC tool. So in order to do that, you need to put all your FastQ files in a tar package, and I will show you in a moment how to do that. Then you select that tar package and run this tool, which you find in the quality control category, and the tool is called Read Quality with MultiQC for many FastQ files. So MultiQC can actually combine information from many tools. In Chipster, it currently uses only the FastQC information. It has many very handy features. So it has interactive plots. It allows you to view in the reports, the reads are shown either as number of reads or percentage of reads. It also has this traffic light system, although you need to remember that the traffic lights are very generic and they might not be ideal for your data. It also has a toolbox when you click on the right side panel. And the toolbox allows you to highlight samples or show only the selected ones, or download plots and rename samples. There is also a link in the MultiQC page to a very good tutorial video, which I highly recommend. But so in order to run MultiQC, you need to put your FastQ files in a tar package. So as you remember, each of your samples has actually two FastQ files because it's typically paired-end MySeq data. So you take all the FastQ files you have and put them in one tar package using the tool Make Tar Package, which you found in the Utilities category in Chipster. And the FastQ files can obviously be zipped. When your tar package is ready, you can actually delete those original FastQ files from the Chipster session because you have exactly the same stuff now in the package. If you later on want to go back to the individual files, you can always open the tar package and extract files from there. But now let's look at the quality plots these tools make. So here we have the traditional quality plot from the FastQC tool. If you were running it individually, this is the kind of plot you would get. So it is called per base sequence quality. And what you have here is on the y-axis you have the quality value, and in the x-axis you actually have the position in the read. So here we have the first position, the first base in all the reads you gave to the analysis, and the second base and third and so on. And then these yellow boxes here are the distributions. So here we see, for example, that in the first position of all the reads, the quality distribution is between, in the interquartile range is between roughly 32 and 34. So this is very good quality. You can also see a red line here, that's the median quality value in that particular position. And then there is also a blue line which shows the mean quality value in those different positions. Now the developers of FastQC have also decided to color the background of this plot to help you to interpret it. So essentially, if your yellow boxes stay in the green area, that means the quality is very good. If they start to hang to the orange area, it's still okay, but the quality is going down. And if your boxes would be falling to the red area, that means that the quality is bad. So what typically happens is that towards the ends of the reads, the quality starts to deteriorate. Now, on the left-hand side here, you see traffic lights. So these are actually links to the different plots that FastQC makes, and you can get to the particular plot by clicking here. So the first one is this per base sequence quality, which we have now here, we were looking at, but there are others. And as you can see, for some of these plots, the software gives red traffic lights, so it means that there is a problem, or an orange sign, meaning that it wants to warn you. But like I said earlier, these traffic lights, both in the FastQC and in the MultiQC, are very generic, so they don't know what type of data you have. For example, do you have amplicon sequencing, RNA-seq, ChIP-seq, whatever. And for example, if we look at so here it gives you a red light for sequence duplication levels, but this is very normal for amplicon sequencing data because remember we are sequencing the same stretch essentially. So this was a good example of per base sequence quality plot. Then we have another example here where you see that the base quality deteriorates more towards the ends of the reads. And for this reason, actually, it is recommended that you don't try to go for much longer reads. So you could go, say, up to 300, for example, but as you can see, the quality starts to go down seriously. So even if you sequence longer, those end bits might actually not be usable in your analysis. Now, as you see, when the quality of this particular FastQ file, the best quality was worse than the previous one. Now the traffic light here has turned red. Then a similar plot, but now from the MultiQC. So what MultiQC does, it runs the FastQC, but for all the files you give, and then it combines the results in one plot. So because of that, you cannot anymore have those yellow boxes because that would make the plot very messy. So here you just have the median values. So now each line is the base quality indicator for that particular position in that particular sample. And here you have the quality score, and again the background is colored green, orange, or red. And you can see that the MultiQC decided that 5 files are okay in terms of base quality, and then 5 have lesser quality. So these are these ones here. And otherwise you have exactly the same type of plots as you had for FastQC that we looked earlier. MultiQC produces, for example, this duplication plot here. So that, well, first of all, here you can see the sequence counts. So these are my different files, FastQ files, and it tells me how many reads did I have in each of these files. So you can see that this is actually 16S data, so you can see that the number of reads varies quite a lot between the samples. So here, for example, we go from 19,000 to about 3,000. So quite a big difference. MultiQC also colors these bars so that it shows what proportion are duplicate reads, so they are identical, and which ones are unique. And here you have the toolbox that I mentioned earlier. So if I would click here, that would open the toolbox, and I could, for example, highlight some samples. So what then if there is a quality problem in your data? So the options are that you can either trim the reads or filter the reads. Now, if you filter reads, then if a read has some bad bits, then the whole read will go. Whereas trimming, and typically you start from that bad end, it removes only those bad quality bases. So you will set a threshold, for example, 20, and then it will keep trimming from the bad end until it meets a base which has base quality 20. However, if all the bases in a particular read are bad, then the whole read can disappear. Now, trimming obviously makes reads shorter, so you need to remember that this is not optimal for some applications. And for example, here when we are doing 16S analysis, we are going to combine the read pairs to contigs, and there we want as much overlap as possible. So if you end up doing trimming or filtering and you have paired end data like you have in the MySQL case here, then you need to be careful because the reads in these two files are in the matching order. So if you remove a read from one file, then its pair has to be removed as well so that the order is preserved. And these tools you find in the pre-processing category in Chipster. So there are tools like Trimmomatic and Printsig, and of these Trimmomatic is a faster one. So Trimmomatic has several options. You can trim adapters, you can trim based on quality, so either looking at one base at a time or a sliding window. And there's also an option that you can set that after trimming, you only want to keep reads which are at least this length. So if the read is very short after trimming, you just get rid of it. And importantly, Trimmomatic can cope with paired end data. So you need to keep both files at the same time.